Tanya Lokshina. She is an associate director at Human Rights Watch for Europe and Central Asia. She joins us now from Georgia's capital of Tbilisi. Tanya, good to have you on the show. I'm very interested to hear a little bit more about this claim that Ukrainian citizens are being subjected to this quote-unquote filtration process. I mean, at the least, I would think this would constitute civilian abuse. I mean, because when you look at it, the numbers that are being thrown around are quite staggering. From Ukrainian authorities, we're hearing about 1 million people, a quarter of which means about 250,000 children, are subjected to this.
Screening of civilians by a warring party as such would not constitute a violation of international humanitarian law. There is the laws of war. But the kind of screening that we are talking about in this case, the kind of screening that Russian officials themselves describe as filtration, is compulsory, punitive, and highly abusive. The procedure is in fact cruel and it is unlawful. And in addition to people suffering filtration, some also undergo forcible transfers to the Russian Federation. And here again, when you hear the term forcible transfer, possibly what comes to mind is that someone is being tied up and physically thrown onto the back of a military truck. While as far as the terminology under international humanitarian law goes, if an individual is left without any choice, if a warring party is forcing or pushing an individual to undergo a transfer to occupied territory or transfer to the territory of the occupying power itself, that is a forcible transfer,
Tanya,
a war crime.
I mean, at the most basic level, this filtration process includes sort of the collection of biometric data. But I'm wondering what happens, or what you think happens, to people who actually fail this filtration process because of their particular views of being maybe of their allegiance to the Ukrainian government or various nationalistic groups. What do you think happens to them?
Well, the purpose of filtration is for the Russian forces and the Russia-affiliated forces to identify individuals that they deem to be somehow affiliated with Ukrainian forces, with the Ukrainian government, also the individuals that they deem to be potential saboteurs. Now, filtration involves mass collection of private data, biometric data, data from people's phones, and that collection of data is disproportionate. It's a gross violation of the right to privacy. It's one of the abusive aspects of filtration. Then again, there are those people who, quote unquote, do not clear filtration, who become suspects in the eyes of the forces of the occupying power. And those people are detained, and many of those people were held at Yelenivka, which is a jail in the territory controlled by Russian-affiliated forces. And as you may recall, back in August, there was a major attack on Yelenivka in which 50 prisoners died. We documented instances when people were threatened during filtration, threatened with killing, threatened with violence, extorted money from, subjected to humiliating treatment and other forms of ill treatment. And even though we did not document cases of torture pertaining to filtration process as such, based on our research in eastern Ukraine, in those areas that have not been controlled by Ukrainian government as of 2014, there are very strong grounds to believe that those people who are detained and who are held in detention facilities in the areas controlled by Russian forces and Russian-affiliated forces may be subjected to torture.
Okay. Tanya Lokshina, live for us from Tbilisi. Thank you very much for joining us here on the NewsHour.